You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, April the 15th, 2026. You still got time to file an extension if you haven't done your taxes. It's really important, and I won't bring it up again. Thanks so much for joining us today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast is our live training room. So to get in there, you got to be a member or taking your 1-week free trial. This broadcast, on the other hand, is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In the email, there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, just click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. Benefit there is you'll immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there will be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you do want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 3,000 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more, a lot more. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to, but it is a great resource to have at your fingertips because it allows you to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. At the top of the hour, about 1 p.m. Eastern, Michael will join us for a recap of the live training room. then do a little live trading as time in the markets permit. And Michael will not be here tomorrow or Friday or Monday, but I'll be here. So his last appearance before his little mini vacation will be today at 1 p.m. Eastern. So right now we're going to just start where we always do with our daily devotional. The topic that we're on right now, everyday faith. Our scripture today, it's a big one, Luke 24, verses 13 through 32, from the NIV translation. Now that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. As they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked along with them, but they were kept from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" They stood still, their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, "Are you the only one visiting Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days?" "What things?" he asked. "About Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "He was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. The chief priests and our rulers handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. And what is more, it is the third day since all this took place. In addition, some of our women amazed us. They went to the tomb early this morning, but didn't find his body. They came and told us that they had seen a vision of angels who said he was alive. Then some of our companions went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they did not see Jesus." He said to them, "How foolish you are, and how slow to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Messiah have to suffer these things and then enter his glory?" And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself. As they approached the village to which they were going, Jesus continued on as if he were going farther. But they urged him strongly, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening. The day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, gave thanks, broke it, and began to give it to them. Then their eyes were opened and they recognized him, and he disappeared from their sight. They asked each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us?" Again, that was Luke 24, verses 13 through 32. Now, the focus of today's devotion is in verse 24. But they did not see Jesus. The two disciples on the road to Emmaus were leaving Jerusalem. They had a perspective of Jesus, a prophet, they said, not Messiah, not Redeemer. He had not redeemed Israel the way they expected. They were confused by his suffering. Hope had shifted, and Jesus came near. He walked with them. He let them tell the story as they understood it. He listened to their disappointment. but we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. Then Jesus opened the scriptures. He showed them that suffering was not outside the plan. What they thought was failure was fulfillment. At first, they did not recognize him. Later, they would say, "Were not our hearts burning within us?" God's purposes often move beyond our expectations. We miss him because we're looking for something else. Are there places in your story where you quietly said, "I had hoped," fill in the blank, situations that did not unfold the way you imagined, moments that left you confused or disoriented? Jesus is closer than we realize. When their eyes were opened, they did not stay in Emmaus. They rose at once and returned to Jerusalem. Recognition led to movement. As you look back over your own story, has confusion ever turned into clarity? Has disappointment deepened your faith? Has something you once resisted become part of your growth? I know for me that sometimes I may feel confused, not really sure what it is God's doing in my life. But then, days or weeks later, maybe even just hours, or maybe years, I look back over my shoulder and I go, "Oh, now I see what you were doing." Hindsight's a perfect science. The bottom line, whether you can see what God's up to at any given moment, he's always there. He's been walking with you, and he's walking with you right now. So here's a question for you. Where have you said, "I had hoped," fill in the blank? Write it down. Look again at that moment. What has changed in you since then? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we see dimly. We misunderstand. We lose heart. We pray that you would open the scriptures to us. Open our eyes. Let us see you more clearly. Give us your perspective where ours has failed. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen, and happy Wednesday. All right, let me give you the numbers from around the world. Then we'll go to the news, then we'll go to the alerts and the charts, and then Michael will join us. Starting here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. The Dow is currently down 230 points. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, is up 268 points. That's unusual, to say the least. So for the NQ, that's a gain of well over 1%. S&P 500 is up 29. The Russell 2000 is down 3 points. So, mixed markets. I posted this morning in the discussion group, has the bull run its course for now? And I think we're starting to see it, just a little bit. In the commodity basket, crude oil is up 97 cents, trading 92.24 last. That's a gain of a little over 1%. Gold down $22.30, trading 48.2780 last. Silver down 7 cents, trading 79.61 last. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 256 points. The Shanghai was basically flat on the session. The Hang Seng gained 75. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 49, the DAX up 22, the CAC down 53. We've had some really bullish days back to back here, but what you're seeing is the beginning of a transition. Now, when we get to the daily chart of the S&P, I'll show you exactly what I expect. What the S&P does, the other indices follow. Let's look at the news. Researchers yesterday presented a novel wireless earbud camera system that lets users talk with an artificial intelligence model about what they're seeing. Each earbud has a rice grain sized camera that captures low resolution images and sends them to a phone or other nearby device. There, an AI model verbally answers questions about the scene in about 1 second. The prototype, called View Buds, and that's V-U-E Buds, achieved over 80% accuracy in identifying objects and 93% accuracy in identifying book titles and authors. Due to camera size constraints, the images are in grayscale, so the system cannot yet answer color-related questions. Future studies will explore how View Buds could help people with low vision read books and assist travelers with translations. The project team hopes View Buds will be adopted more widely than smart glasses and VR headsets, since people already wear earbuds. Users can also delete images instantly, addressing privacy concerns tied to Meta's AI glasses, which have reportedly sent sensitive footage to subcontractors in Kenya. Now, while we're talking about the Meta AI glasses, you can buy them different places, but you can also buy them from Ray-Ban. You know that classic Wayfarer look that Ray-Ban is so famous for? You can get those. You can get them as sunglasses, you can get them with clear lenses, you can even get them with prescription lenses. Now, I have a sister-in-law who is losing her vision due to macular degeneration. So it's a situation where each day it gets a little bit worse. And at the moment, there's no known cure for it. As I was researching these glasses the other day, I was reading the reviews on the Ray-Ban site, and one really caught my eye. A father said he had a 12-year-old daughter who was losing her vision. He said he bought her a pair of the Ray-Ban Meta AI glasses, and that it has been such an incredible help to her. As her vision grows weaker and weaker each day, she's able to rely on what the AI glasses are seeing. And once her vision's completely gone, she'll still be able to get around and do things because the glasses will do the seeing for her. Like, hey, don't walk into that wall. Hey, watch out for that nightstand. You get my drift? Now, the fact that they aren't advertising this yet as an accessibility item for vision impaired people Maybe I just haven't seen the ads, but based on this father's review, I immediately contacted my sister-in-law's son and says, hey, look into a pair of these for your mom. And I hope he did. Have you ever wondered if you could afford a Picasso? France sold a $1 million Picasso painting to a Parisian sales engineer yesterday for just 100 euros. That's $117 US. The sale was part of a charity raffle that collectively raised 12 million euros, that's $14 million, for Alzheimer's research. The portrait was Pablo Picasso's 1941 Tête de Femme, head of a woman, a cubist gauche on paper in shades of gray, donated by the Paris Opera Gallery. The piece measures 15.3 inches by 10 inches. It was painted under Nazi occupation in the same Paris studio where Picasso painted his sweeping canvas, Guernica, 4 years earlier. The sale marks the third ever one Picasso for €100 raffle. In 2013, organizers sold Man in the Opera Hat to a fire sprinkler worker in Pennsylvania. In 2020, Nature Morte was sold to an Italian accountant who got the ticket as a Christmas present. Well, next year I'm going to get me one of them tickets. Imagine getting $1 million painting for $100. You got to play to win, right? That's what they say. Now, I hate to do this to you, but in a couple minutes I'm going to have to take a quick break. So don't worry, when Michael's done, I'll finish everything up, as normal. In fact, let's do this. Let's just jump over all the claptrap and go straight to Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock Emini alert service. Over the last 402 weeks, we've issued over 22,000 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure. It's just a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Since the markets opened this past Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 41 alerts. Now, Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. So at the time of the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 21. As the markets begin this pullback that I'm expecting, I think we'll see some of these shorts get triggered in. But of course, she'll recap the update this afternoon, as she does each day. So at the time of the recap this morning, we had 20 actionable alerts so far this week. One stop out, 5%. Now, the purpose of the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. Every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target, and then, in most cases, additional targets, and then a final trade to target. If you never actually trade a logic alert, please use them for the purpose intended, and that is to help you learn how to read the chart. You see, when you can read the chart, you know where to anticipate potential resistance, potential support, and in between those two important points is where you find your windows of opportunity, which contain your best high probability, low risk trade setups. Now, 402 weeks is a long time. Oh, let me add one other thing. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. Now, 402 weeks is a very long time, 7.5 years, give or take. But many years before we introduced Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the Concierge Trade Alerts. Now, they're different in a lot of different ways. For the purpose of today's discussion, I'll just say this. They typically come out 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open. The Wednesday session that we're in right now began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. I actually got them out 4 minutes ahead of time. So, all of our traders had all of these targets 9 minutes before the market opened last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. The S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. Now, as we go through these individual markets, you're going to see these targets drawn out on the screen. Just remember that all of our traders had the information 9 minutes before the market opened. So let's go to the daily chart, which is where we always start at this point in the broadcast. As you can see, today's high, 70.33, so I missed it by like 3 ticks. Okay. Now, price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green, this green line. We call it the BBC. It just stands for bull, bear, cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and anticipate higher prices. When price gets below the green line, we're bearish and anticipate lower prices. Now, it doesn't matter what you trade or how you trade it. Whether you know it or not, price always reverts to the mean. It's kind of like gravity. It just is. But what's interesting is the pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. It held here. It held here. It didn't hold here, but on the retracement it held. So we had a leg and a retracement, and the pullback held for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. Now you might go, well, wait a minute, those candles are below the green line. Yeah, but look, they're touching it. As long as they're touching it, that's a hold. So we had a leg, a retracement, a leg, a retracement, pullback held, leg, a retracement, pullback held, and then it didn't hold for a day. So that brings us here where we were in a downtrend for quite a while. We had last touched the BBC on March 5th. And then leg, retracement, leg, retracement, leg, retracement, leg, retracement. We touched the BBC March 5th. We didn't touch it again until April the 6th. We traded through. It held for a couple days, and then we traded through. Okay. Now we're running into this resistance right at this high. Okay. Perfect market structure. So what's going to happen next? Well, we will most likely see a retracement back to the BBC. Doesn't mean the sky is falling or the world's coming to an end. That's just how markets work. Leg, retracement, leg, retracement. Now, it may not come down in one fell swoop. It might go leg, retracement, leg, retracement, leg. But once it gets to the daily BBC, you should expect a very nice bounce. Then after the bounce, it'll either continue higher or perhaps it will trade through. If it trades through, you got a bullish cross right here. That's when the blue line gets above the green line and leads to an extended move. The first time price revisits that area, which in this case is roughly 67.12. First time down, that should be really good resistance, whether it happens in a week, a month, or a year. The first time price comes back to 67.12. I'd bet the farm it's going to hold at least enough for a bounce. Could be a full-on reversal, but at least a bounce. Okay. All right. So as I said, so as it says, I'll be right back. Okay. Don't go away. It's going to probably take me 10 minutes. I'll be back. And then Michael will be joining us at 1, and we're going to go through all the markets in granular fashion as we do each and every day. And we're back. Okay. So let's go to the 30-minute chart of the ES. Now the 30-minute chart is where all the alerts are created. Both Logic 247 and the Concierge Trade Alerts. Nothing magic about 30 minutes, just the time frame I chose years ago. Stuck with it. The vertical line separates today Wednesday, here's Tuesday, here's Monday. The horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. We've published those every Monday for our members for over 16 years. They come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. Yesterday, we got above the highest weekly trading zone on the ES. This is where we opened last night. The pullback to the BBC held, and this morning during the 10 a.m. to 10:30 30-minute candle, we actually traded through the long target. And on the pullback, the top side of the long target held a support. Not uncommon. In fact, it happens quite often. Now, by close of business tomorrow, based on 16 plus years of history, we expect price to be at or below the highest weekly zone. Here's the Dow. Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So we can stretch this out a little bit. There we go. Now, when price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. In fact, one of three things happens when price encounters a weekly zone. 70% of the time it's consolidation, 20% of the time rejection, 10% of the time the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle trades through a zone like it's not even there. Typically, when that happens and runs out of steam, price will retrace back to the zone it sliced through, continue in the direction of the slice. This time, that didn't happen. Does it happen more often than not? Oh yeah. Now what's important to notice, you see on the way up how the black step line and blue and climbing were running parallel. Once the step line crosses from the left side to the right side of blue and climbing, you anticipate a retracement to the BBC. Now blue and climbing is bullish, red and falling is bearish. When blue and climbing gets directly above price, it becomes potential resistance because it's usually on its way to becoming red and falling. And red and falling represents resistance, which sent us back to support at the BBC, which sent us back to resistance at red and falling, which sent us back to the BBC, and the pullback held. Then we put in a lower high, and that sent us to the south side of the BBC. But then we overcame it. A leg and a retracement, and then a leg, but we didn't quite get all the way to the long target. Now we still have one more target overhead on the Dow, or one more zone overhead on the Dow. But on this retracement, look where the Dow has found support. At the weekly trading zone that was published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Again, once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. Now, the long target is based off of, if you scroll left far enough, you'll see the reason for that long target. The short target, right here, where red turned to blue. See that? See where red turned to blue? That's an important price, important area. So if the Dow manages to trade below, then Yeah, this chart seems to be frozen. Hang on a minute. Ah, it was. So we're actually below the BBC. So we sliced through, well, we consolidated, then we traded through, then we pulled back up to the BBC, to the weekly trading zone, and we found resistance. So where's price most likely headed? To the short target. If we trade through the short target, expect some potential support right here, right here, right here, and then right here. You see the little tiny wick sticking up? Now remember, we're going all the way back to Monday. And you got a tiny wick sticking up and a tiny wick sticking down. You put your crosshair right between the two, like that. 48,275. The price gets down there. That should be good support, at least the first time down. Okay. All right. So now let me see if the ES was frozen. I don't think so, but maybe. Yeah, it was. Okay. I guess all my charts froze up for some reason. So here's the Russell. Let's just go ahead and refresh that chart. And there's the Russell. See, now it's moving. So here's where the Russell opened last night. Pull back to the BBC. The pullback held. And then we just consolidated. We're above the BBC. We're below. But look at every candle is touching. And then we made a run at yesterday's high. Right here. We took it out by just a little bit. When you take out a previous day's high by just a little bit, be very suspicious. It's a sign of weakness. And now look where we are. We're below the BBC, printing a red candle. The short target is based off this low right here from yesterday. And the low of the current candle is based off this low right here. You see, yesterday we had a red candle all the way to the BBC. But the pullback held and we bounced. And that's where that candle closed. So the low of that candle is the exact low of the current candle. The low of this candle is 2708.3. The low of this candle is 2708.3. That doesn't happen by accident. It's market structure. But I believe price is going to continue lower on the Russell. And I think now there's a spot right here. See the wick sticking up and the wick sticking down on the next candle. Put your crosshair right between them. 2706 should be the next good support once we take out the low of the current candle. In Q. See consolidation at the zone right there. Okay, this was the open last night. But blue and climate had gotten directly above price on its way to becoming red and falling, which took us back to the BBC. The pullback held. We got a leg, but we failed to take out that high. Resistance always sends the market looking for support. Support always sends the market looking for resistance. Resistance sends us back to support. Support sends us looking for resistance. Now, on the NQ, we're also above the highest weekly trading zone. By close of business tomorrow, we expect price to be at 25,790, the highest weekly zone at 790/791. By close of business tomorrow, we expect price to be here or below. That's simply based on 16 years of history. Okay. We haven't quite got all the way to the zone yet. What's the high? 169, and that target's at 175. So anyway, just this one candle right here. Opened at 69 and ran up to 134. It's about $1,400 per contract traded in that one 30-minute candle right there. And why would you enter here? You're above the BBC. You're above the black step line. You got blue and climbing below. All systems go. But this is where we should run into resistance. And should we trade through the long target on a retracement, the top side of that long target has the potential to become good support. Crude oil. Yesterday we found support at the lowest weekly trading zone on crude. And then last night we traded below the short target. And then we pulled up to the BBC and the zone, that's support times, or resistance times 2. And that sent us down to where red turned to blue. See that right there? So that sends us back to the BBC and the zone. This time we overcome and we find resistance right here. Not a spot I would have expected resistance. I would have expected resistance right here. So we spiked it just a little bit. So that sent us back below the BBC and the zone. Now we're overcoming red and falling. But notice where the resistance came in. Right where blue turned to red. Okay, if we can overcome that, then you've got potential resistance here and right there. After that, right there and right there. Oh, I didn't refresh this chart. Okay. We're sitting right on top of the zone. Remember, when price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. Price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. So we're just consolidating here at the zone. We had crude inventories today, so that's playing a little bit, but this is starting to look like a transition. We've been in a downtrend all week. We gapped higher on the open Sunday night. But since then, it's been leg, retracement, pullback held. Leg, retracement, pullback held. Support at the zone, send us to resistance at the BBC, which sent us to support at the lowest zone. And now we're consolidating along that lowest zone. If I close a business tomorrow, we expect price to be at or above the lowest weekly zone. Gold. Yesterday we spent a lot of time just consolidating at the zone. We did finally make it through this zone. Here's where we opened last night. And blue and climbing was directly above price, resistance. We pulled back and we shot up 2100 hours and we spiked the target. Now let's say you didn't get into this until right here where it's, you look left, you got nothing there. From 77 to 87, that's 10 points. That's $1,000 per contract traded. We spiked it all the way up to 95. Then we came back to the BBC, consolidated at the zone, and then we dropped, but we didn't quite make it to the short target. Short target was based off this area right here. See the wick sticking up, the wick sticking down, and the black step line crossed blue and climbing, making an important price, important area. So I believe this candle right here is going to trade through blue and climbing. Look for potential support here at every one of these lows, then this low, and then the short target. Last but not least, silver. Here's where we opened last night. And by 2100 hours, we ran through the long target and the weekly zone, and the high of the session was 81.15. But you see, every one of those candles is touching the zone. And resistance sends the market looking for support. Now right here, this candle, wick sticking down, wick sticking up. There's just a tiny, it's like a one tick wick, but that's all you need. Put your crosshair in the middle. That's where I would have expected support. We spiked it just a little bit. The short target is based on this right here, where the black step line crossed to the left side of blue and climbing. That makes that an important price, important area. So silver has come back to the top side of the long target where it's found support so far. I better refresh this one too. Okay. We pull back to the BBC, the pullback held. Now we're testing the BBC again. We've spiked it, but what's important is where it closes. Blue and climbing is directly above price, so that's potential resistance. If we can overcome blue and climbing, then we should see the long target again. If we don't, okay, if blue and climbing turns to red and falling and we head lower, look for support at this low. Right here where red turned to blue. Then here, 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 and then here. It actually is that simple. All my candles lost, so 70, 40, and a quarter. That's actually the high of the session. So we're going to fix that. So 70, 41 and a quarter, so we're 1 point off. The high is 70, 40 and a quarter. Okay. But we're now well off the high of the session. And notice that the black step line is starting to lean to the right. So if we don't go any higher, if we close right here or lower, when we open tonight, the black step line is going to look like it wants to cross blue and climbing. And when that happens, look for price to come back to the daily BBC, which is currently aligned with the 38% fib retracement. Now, I'm not saying we can't go higher. We still haven't reached the all-time historic high, which is back over here a ways. But that's the deal. Now remember, all those targets that you saw, our traders had those targets. It's typically 5 minutes before the market opens, but last night it was 9 minutes before the market opened. To become a member, get a hold of Valerie. You can email her, support@cfrn.net. You can call her at 949-42-EMINI. She'll send you all the information you need, explaining what it is to become a member and how you can become a member. But Michael's here, so he's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then do a little live trading as time and the markets permit. Then I'll come back, wrap things up with our good word for the day.
Excellent. All right.
Okay, there we go. Looks good.
All right, here we go. Yeah, as markets permit, it has been so slow. Look at the number of trades we had today. 16. this 20 was the lowest that we had in, well, since July, I think. Then we got lower than that yesterday. Then we got lower than that today. And tomorrow, Friday, and Monday, well, it'll be zero because I'm not trading. But hopefully when I come back on Tuesday, we'll be actively trading again. Anyway, we'll start right here. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button, it will bring you to this registration page. Now, on this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Down at the bottom gives you TradingView login ID. Okay, your TradingView login ID. That is what we need to get your indicators indicating on your desktop for you. All right, just click on that, give us all that information, and we'll know that you took the trial, and we'll be able to get you going. All right, so here we are. Well, let's just start out here. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. As I said, we had the fewest trades today that we've had on any day since July of last year, I think. Let me just go look. 16 is a pretty low number. And we had a full 2-hour trading session anyway. Oh, there's 15 right there. Maybe that. Oh, that was July of last year. 7/30/2025. We had 15. Okay, so that was it. We had 15 at the beginning of the month too. So I guess if we had we had 14 the month before that. I don't know what was going on at that time, but anyway, you can see we have unusual trading right now. It's not bad trading; it's just unusual trading. We managed to get 119 ticks on the MQ. Now half of that was one trade. 50 ticks was one trade. The Russell 35 ticks, the YM -20, and the S -11. So we're up $532.50 with one contract on the morning session. Today it took 5 minutes and one trade to get to the goal for the day. That was a Russell trade. Now yesterday we went the whole session with one Russell trade. We made 10 ticks. Today our very first trade was a Russell trade, and we made 20 ticks on that very first trade. And we only had 2 other trades on the Russell, and one was for +5 and one was for +10. So the Russell was okay to us today. I mean, it was good yesterday too. It just didn't have any trades. So it took 5 minutes and one trade to get to $1,000 per contract this morning. I mean, not per contract, $1,000 with 10 contracts on, $100 per contract. I only took 16 trades and we had 2 stop outs. One of those stop outs was on, actually both of those stop outs. No, wait, I think we had 3 stop outs. We did have 3 stop outs. Okay, so that number is wrong. There. 81.25% of our trades were break even ready. We had 3 stop outs. We had 2 on the ES, right? Yeah, we had 2 on the ES and 1 on the YM. So either way, that puts us at $8,642 on the month. Over 10 trading days, averaging $864 per contract per 2-hour trading day. On the year now, we're at $74,947 over 64 trading days, averaging $1,171 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now, if you were to quit trading when you get the goal for the day and you were to add 1 contract per month, so far, you would have only had to work 8.3 hours and you would have averaged $22,305. I'm sorry, you would have averaged $2,687 per hour. You'd be up $22,305 if you had the exact same slippages and you did everything exactly like I did. That's unheard of. Slippages, especially when you have a lot of contracts on, slippages is not carried across everybody's contracts. It's everybody's contracts which makes the slippage. Anyway, $22,305. So let's get into it now. The actual trades that we took on the Russell, our very first trade, look, everything's going to flip to YBR right here, I think. Our very first trade on the Russell, well, this is the whole day right here on the Russell. Our first trade was right here. We picked up 20 ticks on that one, 5 ticks on that to get us to 25, and then 10 ticks on that to get us to 35. And that was the whole day on the Russell. So I imagine we'll be able to look at the whole day on every one of these markets in one screen, probably. During the break, it looks like there was a trade here for the Russell. Might have been enough to get the stop to break even, maybe not. I don't know if it didn't go 10 ticks, it would have stopped out. There's a trade there, would have been a good trade. Trade here, would have stopped out. And that was it on the Russell. I was saying if it was the same kind of ETR tomorrow, if we didn't have any volatility tomorrow, I would go to a 9 range, go back down to a 9 range on these guys. But I'm not going to be going to anything tomorrow because I am going to be out tomorrow. Okay, so I thought I was going to be able to put it on. Oh, I can put it on one screen. Here it is. All right, so our YM trades today. Well, I only put one of them down. Apparently, we had a trade I don't know where it was, but we had a +5 somewhere, and then I stopped out on this one. Now, this one I had a horrible fill on. My stop should have gone to break even, or maybe +5 ticks if I would have gotten a good fill on it. But it ended up stopping me out at -25 ticks. But before that, I had a +5 somewhere. I think it was probably right here. I had a +5, and so that put us at -20 on the YM. And that was it on the YM. That was the whole morning session on the YM. Okay. Next, the ES. So we were negative on the YM. We were -20 on the YM. And the ES, we had, well, here's the whole day in the ES. Right there is the whole day on the ES. We started out with this. We got a +4 there. Then we stopped out there, -10. That put us at -6 altogether. We picked up 1 tick there to get to -5. Then we stopped out again to -15. And we picked up 2 ticks there to get us to -13. And then I didn't add this last one on at the very end of the session. I think I got 1 more tick at the end of the session to put us at -12. No, I got 2 ticks, that's right, to -11. So I'll have to fix that. -11. So let me put that in the spreadsheet. That is right too. Oh, I did write it in here. All right, so we had -11 there. I just didn't write it down on my sheet. Okay. And that was the whole day on the ES. Right, the whole day on the ES. We don't have trades anywhere right now, but now we're going to do the NQ, and the NQ is the closest one to giving us a trade right now. Let's just go back here, and you can see the whole day on the NQ right here. This is the whole morning. There's been nothing when you can see the whole morning in one screenshot on all 4 of the markets. So on the NQ, we started out here with a +20. Then we picked up 7 more ticks to get us to 27. Then 20 ticks to get us to 47. Then it's like 22 ticks to get us to 69. And then 50 ticks to get us to 119. And that was it on the NQ for us this morning. Okay. That is what the whole day was like. Wow. So every one of those markets, we could see the whole day in one screen. That is pretty sad. All right, so let's go out here one more time. All this stuff is correct now. We had 3 stop outs, not 2, so we're 81.25% of our trades were break even or better. We are at 532.50. We did get to -11 on the ES. 532.50 on the morning session. So for the month of April, we're up $8,642 over 10 business days, averaging $864. And on the year now, we're averaging $1,171 per contract. I like that number to be over 1,200. But we're going to need some volatility to start picking up here. I think we should have it pretty soon. Pretty soon we'll get some volatility in. Everybody's sitting on their hands right now. I mean, even Bitcoin, if you look at this right here, Bitcoin, well, this morning it was even. It was like $5, plus or minus $5 this morning. And now it's plus or minus 170. And percentage-wise, that is 0.0. It's less than 0.01%. Maybe it's 0.02%, something like that. It is a very small percentage. So we're just not getting any movement on anything right now. Everybody is holding on. So we'll be looking for trades. We need a down close here on the NQ right now to get us into the oversold, and then an up close to take us out of the oversold. Okay, down close to get us into it, 0.22%. Yes, well, just hold on for the ride. 0.22%, 0.22%. I just heard A door closed in outside my residence. I am not expecting devices. Normally, I would just look out the window. Okay, it wasn't outside my residence. 0.022%, minus 0.022%. Thank you, Ed. I know it was some very small number, point something percent. It was less than 1%. Movement. And you know, with Bitcoin, that's not much at all. Oh, all right. So YM, nothing ES, nothing NQ, nothing. So we just have to wait a few minutes. And come down here, I'll add a day onto the bottom of this. Okay. Oof, I sneezed and fit. Okay, let's get back down to the day on the bottom of this. Put that there, and this is 4/15. Hey, it's tax day. I think that's why people are sitting on their hands today. We're all out there filing their taxes today. And if we do it from right now, we'll have 17 minutes. And this becomes 8:82. All right. So now we just need the trades to fill in the box. Minus 0.22%. 134. Minus 1.79. Minus 0.179. Sorry, minus 0.179%. It's a very small number compared to what it usually does. Craziness. All right. So, have we got anything to talk about? There's something Dwayne and I were talking about yesterday. Frontier Airlines. Cheapo Air, Fly Frontier. Let's see if they still have that. 5,000 miles, join Frontier miles, Go Wild Pass, that's the one. The Go Wild Pass. 399 bucks. Buy the pass, get unlimited flights. Now through April of 2027. So we're talking about that yesterday for a moment. And he had said purchase options like bag seats and more additional costs. Use early booking to book even earlier on select flights for a small fee. Starting 10 days before. It is. Confirm bookings the day before departure for domestic and 10 days before for international. That's what you were saying yesterday. Huh. Yeah, $3.99. $3.99. Go wild. No. Well, a lot of times these airlines, you know, like what's that other one that Jade and I use? Allegiant. You know, they'll have hotels, they'll have their own hotels, or they'll be hooked up with hotels at their destinations. But you said there's nothing like that for Frontier, huh? Yes, Frontier Airlines. So if you have one near you and it goes anywhere you want to go on a regular basis, like your kids are spread out a little bit, then it could be worth the deal. I had it is. I mean, the plane tickets that I just bought, just the ones going up there, I think I paid $400 for those, and that's just the one flight. I paid $400 for the one way, and then we're flying up on something Spirit, I think, or something like that, flying back on American. I think, it might have been even less than that. I think, Dwayne. I remember you saying that, but I think it might have been even less than that. Some sort of holiday thing or something they were offering up. Yeah, I thought about it back then. Yes. This one? Yeah, huh. I wonder what the difference is. Are you running on desktop or you're running on browser? Trading View. Okay, because this is browser. And are you Windows 11? Okay, this is 11. So I don't know if that makes a difference. Yeah. Yeah, so the locations, these are all their locations. So for you, let's see if they have anything down there. Yep, Phoenix Sky Harbor right there. I was looking for something in New Mexico. Okay, I don't see it in New Mexico. You're out of luck. Yeah, the international, you have Aruba, Nassau, San Jose, Punta Cana. There you go, Cabo. There's a lot of places in Mexico. Puerto Rico? That's the United States. You don't need a passport to go there. Uh-huh. You can fly right into there. Get any trades yet? No trades yet. Almost. Okay, so you're out of luck, I think, Michael. I don't think your airport's listed in here. But for me, I can fly into Boston, out of Charlotte, into Boston, or I think Hartford is another one. And Providence. Is Providence in this list? Nope. Okay, so I have Boston and Hartford I can fly into. And from here, we got to fly out of Charlotte. Charlotte's only an hour. Raleigh's 3 hours. Yeah, so Raleigh's a bit of a drive. Yeah. If they had a flight from our little airport here in town, that would be awesome. They don't have any commercial flights here. Huh. Well, we're already in the oversold, so the mid band is at 162 and the high of this bar is at 75. So no, it won't. But the bar after it, if it gives it down close here, the bar after it could have a wick, easily have a wick when it hits it and bounces up. That would be the trade. He said, Michael, he said a little white thing appeared on the bottom of his candle when it was clickable. You know, when you could do that. For me, I can just click on it. Oh, you know what? It may have something to do with the way you have these set up, because I have my projection up and down bars set to black. If you have yours set to something else, then it may, it may look a little different. For me, the status line is all this stuff up here. Status line is. No, nothing. Yep. Yeah, I had a feeling I didn't, during the break, I told you I was going to go and cook bacon. I multitasked, did a whole bunch of things. I went out to the grill and I had bacon cooking on 2 separate grills, and I mowed the lawn while I was cooking the bacon, and yeah, got a whole bunch done. Yep, I came out of the oversold before he hit the mid-band. So nothing. We're not going to get a trade. This guy right here, yeah, I have that one right here and this one right down here too. That's what makes it this thing right here in the middle. If I click on anything else like this, if I click on the arrow, that enables the arrow. But if I click on the cross, this guy right here, that cross or this cross, they're the same thing. But if you want to look in here to see what it does, if I make any of these a favorite, it'll show up in this menu bar that I have down here. Look, this is it right here, Dwayne. This is it right here. Values tooltip on long press. There it is. Yep, that is it. That is it. That's the thing, Michael, right there. That is it. You are right. You are right. Good catch. Yeah, mine is 2 now. But now I know how to turn it on. And yours is checked and still not working. I don't know, maybe I don't really know how to check what version of TradingView I have. Yeah, like mine. Maybe it's got something to do with the way you have your cross set. This cross and crosshair and all that. Because there's another setting down here, the sync and layout and all that kind of stuff. And there's a couple more settings, that makes the cursor the way that it is. Canvas, is that near? Separate. It's crosshair. Watermark, replay mode, grid lines, vertical and solid background. Navigation, pane, visible on mouse over. I don't know if any of those things are. Well, if you swap over to that other layout that I sent you earlier and see if it works on that. No, I'll give you the charts back here right now if you want. We're not going to have a trade. Good. All right. You're figuring it out all by yourself. Well, today, I mean, the market is slow like this. It's easy to do the math and bring my DOM over and let it just sit there and trigger and let you guys watch it and all that stuff. When it's slow like this, it's easy to do that. But when it's fast, I got to throw the orders on and do the drop and all that kind of stuff. All right. You know what you do? Just say you lost your debit card and get a new one. No. Yeah, but you need. Yeah. You only have to do it once. But I don't know. Challenge it with your bank and make them research it, Michael says. Yeah. Right up the food chain. Right off the food chain. Was it a Chinese number? All right. Well, I'm ready to turn it over. Let's go here. If you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingIQ.com, click on the purple button, no credit card required. When you click on that, it's going to be to the registration page. Just fill it out. All right. Give us your trading view login ID down at the bottom so you can get your indicators indicating on your desktop for you. We had 0 trades today. So in here, this is not the date that will fill that spot. In this session, we are averaging about 16 minutes of trading, and we are averaging usually about 3 to 4 trades per session, and we're averaging $119 per contract for those 16 minutes. So we're averaging about $7 a minute in the time that we do get to trade in here. That's it. That's it, guys. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, and Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne is ready. Today, it took 5 minutes and 1 trade to get to $1,000 with 10 contracts on. Thank you.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.